This is a Thunderbolt 3 dual M.2 NVMe enclosure made by a company called Sabrent. It is small, lightweight, and really aims to be one of the best accessories primarily aimed at Mac users that need high-performance external storage. Sabrent is a company that sells computer accessories primarily aimed at users that want high-quality card readers, audio adapters, cables, memory and storage, USB hubs, chargers, video adapters, and even camera accessories. This dual NVMe SSD enclosure runs on Thunderbolt 3, which guarantees you a maximum bandwidth of 40 gigabits per second or 5 gigabytes per second. So really the only limiting factor is your actual NVMe drive itself and what speed it can deliver. For this video, I bought myself some Crucial P2 drives, which are far from the fastest on the market. However, my intention was to run this enclosure in RAID 0, so really anything that could give me about 1500 megabytes per second in single disk mode would be sufficient for my needs. And primarily the main reason why I went for a storage solution like this was to keep costs down while still getting good read-write performance out of the drives. After all, this is a storage setup that I needed to edit 4K RAW video off of. This is quite an impressive product. From the moment you get the packaging, you can definitely tell that this is a high quality product. The lid for the box even has a magnetic latch. It's cute. The unboxing is very straightforward. You get some paperwork and the enclosure itself is already inside its silicone case that's also provided. And right underneath that, you have another box with your power adapter and Thunderbolt 3 cable. You also get these thermal pads which you stick onto your disks so that they can transfer heat more efficiently to the aluminium housing, effectively using it as a heat sink. The design of this enclosure is actually pretty clever. It's a passively cooled design where the housing of the enclosure acts as a heat sink for the SSDs inside. And in terms of weight, for reference, a Samsung T5 weighs in at 49 grams and this bad boy without the SSDs comes in at 204 grams. So there's definitely some heft to it with that solid aluminum construction. The enclosure has a very industrial design. You've got two LED indicators on the left for each SSD, followed by your Thunderbolt 3 port, your power connector, and finally your on and off switch. This enclosure is also built around a completely toolless design, which means that you can install your drives and get up and running without ever having to touch a screwdriver. So that's a huge plus, especially for someone that wants the freedom to be switching drives regularly. Now, of course, we all know that NVMe drives get absolutely scorching hot, and there's no exception here. The Crucial P2s that I'm using get absolutely toasty, so bad that the housing gets uncomfortable to the touch. So that's just one thing to point out, because in all honesty, the heat is a concern and I'm not sure how these drives will age over time. Now, the Crucial P2 drives are rated at 300 terabytes written, or TBW, which is an endurance metric used to describe how much data can be written to a drive throughout its lifespan. With that being said, let's get into some speed tests. In 2 terabyte form, the Crucial P2 drives are rated to do a maximum sequential read of 2400 megabytes per second and a sequential write of 1900 megabytes per second. However, in practice, I was only able to get about 1320 megabytes per second of write and 1480 megabytes per second of read in Blackmagic design disk speed tests from a single disk. Now, these results are completely off from the official rated speed for this drive. But remember that M.2 NVMe drives are designed to be mounted directly onto your motherboard, which should guarantee the lowest latency configuration. In this type of configuration, there are a few things to consider, like throughput of the interface, but most importantly, there is inherent latency that is introduced from a drive that is mounted in an enclosure through a Thunderbolt controller that is then mounted onto your motherboard. Now, with that being said, I was able to set these drives up in a 4 terabyte software RAID 0 array, and the speeds I got were much better and really quite impressive. I was getting about 2490 megabytes per second of write and 2432 megabytes per second of read, which is a very healthy result, as you can see from the Blackmagic disk speed test. This basically means that this configuration can handle any kind of 4K video, whether that's 2160p 60 in ProRes 422, Cinema DNG RAW, or even 10-bit YUV 422. More than good enough for anything that I'll throw at these drives, so I was very pleased with that result. This is an amazing enclosure that I highly recommend. And of course, your mileage will vary as different NVMe drives are rated to do different speeds. But overall, this enclosure does exactly what was promised, which is delivering a solid high-performance storage solution for its user, and it's definitely a thumbs up from me. I highly recommend it. Thanks for watching, guys, and hope that this review has been helpful to you. If you aren't already subscribed to the channel, then make sure that you do. It's completely free. Make sure to hit that bell icon to get notified when I upload new videos. Catch you folks in the next one.